Welcome, dear friends. Good to be with you again. How are we? Let me know how you're doing in the chat. Always a pleasure. Let's see how this is working, is it? Welcome back again. Oh yeah, we don't need to have that. Still working on. Oh. Let me know where you're calling in from while I'm sorting out the tech. Always good to be with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Why is it each time I forget how to do this thing with the chat? Ha, he, he. Yeah, let me know where you're calling in from. Standing up today. Oh, here we go. Yes. I've done it. All right. Cool, nice, all right. We're getting going. Hi, Annetta, welcome. Hi, Katie. Hey, good to be with you. Yeah, nice. All right, we're set up. We will start shortly. I've got some fun new things for you. Look at this. Oh, it's broken. Classic. Yeah, there we go. We really need to talk. All shall be revealed in due course. So yeah, let me know where you're calling in from. Today is going to be more of a storytelling vibe, changing things up a little bit. And yeah, it's always a pleasure and privilege to be with you. I'm just going to move these flowers just to get them in the right position. Oh yeah, nice. Hi Amy, welcome. Good to be with you. 18 beautiful people. What a joy to be in conversation with you. And yeah, I hope you're well. Just on a little squeaky bit of ground. Let me work out. Okay, this is good. Cool. So let's get into things. Welcome. I'm going to be sharing something a bit different today. And yeah, all shall be revealed in due course. Let's try it. So welcoming your comments throughout all of this. First time I'm trying this, something a bit new, and your honest feedback is always welcome. All right, let's give it a go. Oh, let me stand here. Welcome to We Really Need to Talk, the show where we find out how to meet our fundamental human needs, and we do that through exploring the often embarrassing times where I didn't have my needs met. And let's go, we really need to talk. Let's see where we're going to land. Wow, so the need for hope. makes me think of, the fact that we as a society, we need hope. We need an idea that there can be a world better than there is currently. And I feel that, some of the biggest storytellers of our times, Hollywood, they don't fulfill their responsibilities and opportunities to help us imagine what a beautiful world could be like. They instead create dystopias of life on Earth, or the only real fantasies that they have of a better future are in galaxies far, far away. And so I want to share with you a story where I did a mini rebellion for hope and to change these storytellers and to attempt to talk to the powers that be in Hollywood. So I went to Star Wars premiere in London. And this is one of the big film events of the year in London. And me and a group of rebels decided that this was our opportunity to go to the premiere and tell the producers to change the script, that balance is possible, that they need to start helping us imagine what a beautiful world on planet Earth could look like. And so our plan was to break into the premiere and to, get in, put some banners, and that was the plan. So how were we going to do it? Was it even possible? We started planning. First step was to dress up as Jedis and Ewoks. We then queued up for a night and then managed to get into the autograph area of the Star Wars screening. Now, people are jostling all over the place, trying to get the best positions. The paparazzi and the media are over there. People are going crazy when the celebs start. The media are talking, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Star Wars premiere. You'll see tonight it's a blue carpet instead of the normal red carpet. Very clever there. And then we've got celebrities coming over and the people around me going crazy. Adam Driver, if you even touch me, I'll die happy, Adam. Or the Harrison Ford walks past and somebody's like, Harrison Ford, sign my arm, please, sign my arm. I mean, it was mad. It was amazing. Very funny to be around. But we were there for a different reason. 10 of us, 10 rebels, dressed impeccably as Star Wars characters. We were there for a rebellion for hope that something could be different. And so we were planning, when was the moment going to be that we were going to jump over the fence and stage our protest? So we have our squadron leader who organised the action, and we ask him, so boss, when are we going over? And he's beginning to get a bit nervous. And he says, I don't know, let's wait. And we're waiting and more celebrities are passing, time is running out, and we're like, come on boss, we need to go now. But he just lost his composure and he couldn't hack it. He's like, I can't do it. I just can't jump over. And to be fair, I was pretty nervous as well. I wasn't going to be the person jumping over the fence first. Thankfully, one of the group did jump over, and then all of us, we jumped over onto the blue carpet. Most of the group immediately sat on the floor in front of the autograph area with the crowd booing at them as we struggled to get out our banners. I thought they had stopped way too early, so I ran towards where the paparazzi were and then lay on the floor. But I didn't have a sign, and all I had was a little Extinction Rebellion badge. Then I started my chant, Hollywood, you have a unique opportunity and responsibility to help us imagine what a world of hope could look like. But nobody could really hear me. I was surrounded by security guards. Eventually, John Bodega, one of the stars of Star Wars, did pop his head over to see what was happening. I said, hi, John, I love your work. And so that was a rebellion for hope. Now, whether or not that was actually effective, and we did get some media coverage, I still believe that system change is what we need. I mean, our personal journeys of finding peace in ourselves is really important because it means that we can be resilient with the changes and the chaos that are already here and are continuing to come. But it's not enough for us just to live in peace while the economic and political systems that shape our world are destroying life on the planet, creating a sustainability crisis, and the stories that we tell about ourselves about, human nature being inherently selfish or violent then makes us more likely to fall into conflict. We're not angels, but we also have great potential. As you all know from your own healing journey, that forgiveness is possible, healing is possible, that you have great potential. And even if we don't always believe that, our wisdom tells us that there is hope. There is something in there that we know there's a different way that is possible. Balance is possible. And yet the storytellers of our world, they're not helping us reconnect with that potential that we have. So, as it says in Star Wars, rebellions are built on hope. And so we have a need for hope. And there's a story about when I took action. So if you feel called to, could you volunteer? Can you take actions? What does building a world of hope look like for you? It's all valuable. All right. So, yeah, there's story number 1 in We Really Need to Talk, the new show where I talk about times that I had my needs that weren't met. And I'm welcoming your thoughts in the chat, which I'll get to in a bit. And why don't we try another one? So, welcome to We Really Need to Talk, the show where we try and navigate how to meet our fundamental human needs, told and explored through the times that I didn't have my needs met. Let's see what we're going to talk about. Kindness. Oh, okay. So, as human beings, we have a need for having people to care for us, to be kind to us. And when I grew up with a group of friends that were generally kind to one another. But I wasn't prepared for going to university, for something called banter culture, where, I had a new group of mates where they did lad banter, which, if you haven't experienced it, is where often men express their appreciation for each other by tearing each other apart. And I didn't handle this very well. I'm a kind of team kindness, and I didn't handle it very well. One example, when I was at university, I had a genius idea. I was going to create 15 kilograms of pasta bake. I'm cooking, frying the onions. You could smell the garlic. And I've got this masterpiece in front of me, so much pasta bake and 30 tubs of Tupperware, because I was going to freeze it. Cook once, eat 30 times, very efficient. And so, I'm very happy with myself. A few days later, I go to defrost one of these pasta bakes, and as it comes out of the microwave, it has this aroma of lifeless mush. My friends are around the dinner table, my housemates, and this is comedy gold for them. They're loving it. And they take it in turns to just, rip into me. George, that pasta bake looks sadder than your mum when you were born. Hey, sloppy Giuseppe, when's the last time you chewed? Can't really remember what the pars were, but they were getting into me, and I just didn't know how to handle it. My face was flushed with anger, and I just wouldn't know how to express anything, so I just wouldn't. Or I would lash out in anger and totally overreact. And in my room, I would recite inspiring speeches. I have a dream that lads everywhere can treat each other not with vicious banter, but treat each other with kindness. And I would hope for a day where my mates would be kinder to me. And looking back on it now, I do think banter, which I don't know how much you've experienced in your life, to me feels quite a toxic energy. We all want our friendships to be celebrated and to be encouraged and to be recognized and to be seen. And for some reason, particularly men have an idea that they can't really celebrate each other. And so they then, put each other down as a way to bond. And that can very quickly descend into bullying. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it personally. But I also recognize that, taking a joke is important. And if you think to the kings in their courts in England in the 1500s, who were the people that could actually tell the truth to the kings? It was the jesters. The jester could, tell a joke and actually tell truth to power. But because it was a joke, the king wouldn't kill the person who said it. So for me, I'm really grateful when somebody can, speak to some of my BS or, my blind spots and have a joke at my expense, so long as I feel like it's done with warmth and good intention. So we have a need for kindness, choosing kindness, but then also taking a joke and having fun. So how much have you met your need for kindness? Yeah. How do you deal with banter? Are there some areas where maybe you're feeling resentful because people are joking? And I went to a laughter yoga workshop once, and one of the exercises was this. Just pointing at yourself and laughing, which, if you haven't done laughter yoga, it does get quite hysterical because it's so awkward at first and just like totally fake. But then it's so ridiculous that then you start laughing at it. And it is very liberating to point at yourself and just laugh at yourself, because we can take ourselves way too seriously. And nice. Cool. So there's another story. 20 of us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to be with you. And go on, I'll jump into the chat, House of Jehovah, just to answer some of your questions, and you are repeatedly asking them. Shangdi, so I think you're going to have to give me more information about Shangdi. Rings a bell, but I've actually forgotten who that is. Cool, let's check into the chat. Say hi to all of you beautiful people. Hi, Charlie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Annetta, that's awesome. Doing some volunteering. Yes, Katie, Team Kindness. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nice. All right. Still welcome your thoughts in the chat, and I will, tell some more stories. And then, if you've got any questions, we can get into that as well. Maybe tell another couple, and then, see how we do. So, let's keep going. So, welcome back. If you are just joining, this is We Really Need to Talk, the show where we are talking about our needs and how to meet them, fundamental human needs, and told through often the embarrassing times where I didn't meet my needs. And the next need we are talking about, it's awe and wonder. Cool. So we as human beings have a need for awe and wonder. It's one of the feelings that can give us an awful lot of meaning and a lot of joy. And how much awe and wonder do you have in your life? One simple practice that I do to bring more awe and wonder into my life is when going into the forest and going into nature. Nature is one of the big ways that we can find awe and wonder, partly because it helps us reconnect with what we are a part of and where we come from. It's easy when we're stuck in the city to be stuck in just, our everyday responsibilities, the challenges of life, which, are all fine and part of being human. But can we also take the time to go out into nature and see what that can teach us? And when I go into the forest, I've got a little secret for you. One of the practices that I do, which is slightly strange, but I enjoy it, is if there's nobody around, I go up to the biggest tree that's around and I ask if it's okay, and I give it an embrace and literally stick my face on it, embrace it, and then breathe down, relaxing my face, breathing down into my belly, and then see if I can be present with the tree and listening to the winds and seeing what being present with it can be. I'm an unashamed tree hugger. I love it. And trees for me are quite magical because, they're beings that we share 50% of our DNA with. They're a living being here on planet Earth. They're aware, they track the sun with their leaves. They have an internal sense of time, tracking the seasons. They can know when a fellow tree in the forest has less nutrients and then sends more nutrients. And they live for hundreds of years. And so when I hug a tree, I feel like the tree might be saying to me, "You're okay. Take it easy, slow down." And the beautiful thing about being in a forest, being in nature, is that it accepts us no matter what headspace we're in. It reminds us that this slower pace of life, this resilience, these beings that have been alive for hundreds of years, they can remind us that we're part of something bigger. And if we do that, then we can find a bit more awe and wonder. So what's an action that you could take to bring more awe and wonder into your life? Like so many things, it's something that can be cultivated, something that can grow over time. And I'd love to know what your thoughts and ways of finding awe and wonder are. Nice. So we've got some fellow tree huggers in the chat, which is awesome. So doing something similar, putting hands on trees. Nice. All right. Let's do one more, shall we? So let's explore another fundamental human need that we have as human beings. We have these fundamental needs that all of us have, and let's see how we can find these more easily. Love. Love, love, love. Deep down, we have a craving, a desire to, experience love and to be in connection with people that can see and understand us, and we can express ourselves and this love that we have for others and for life. And I have, over my life, gotten my own way with finding love, and starting from a young age. My first love was when I was 10, a girl from school, and I fell for her real good. She was awesome. And I was trying to think, how can I see her outside of school? And I knew where she lived. So 10-year-old George had a plan, and that was just to cycle around her house, hoping that one day she would be there and then I could go chat to her. And so I'm cycling by her house. She's got an elegant house. It's spring. There are spring flowers blooming. The smell of romance fills the air. And I cycle day after day. She still doesn't arrive. But finally, one day she does. And I see her, finally my chance to express my feelings. But it was all too much for me. I got nervous, got scared, started cycling away. And then the minute I cycled away, I was like, oh no, I've blown my chance. Oh. Later on, she messages me on MSN, which is what we had before WhatsApp and Snapchat. And yeah, chatting to, she messaged me like, didn't I see you at my house today? And I didn't know what to say. So I just said, I love you. And she said, that's nice. And so then, yeah, we had a MSN relationship, but never actually connected. But me getting scared of women is a thing that has been common in my life. I grew up with 3 sisters and have lots of friends who are women and get on with humans in general. But there seems to be something in my nervous system that if there's somebody that I fancy, that I get scared. And I want to share with you 3 things that have helped me feel more grounded in connecting with people. And yeah, this can apply for dating and relationships generally. So the first thing is to really ground ourselves in the fact that we are valuable. You know, we have a lot of gifts to share, that we are a prize to win. You know, for me, when I saw her, I was like collapsing into self-judgment. Oh, I'm not good enough for her. Like I'm not confident enough. I'm not funny enough. And I had similar stories through my 20s. And here's the funny thing about that not enoughness is that eventually, if you do meet someone, or I meet someone, or you have met someone in your life, is that they always meet you where you are in that time. Randomness brings you together, and then, you know, you meet where each other are. So this idea that I've got to be better, you've got to be better in order to be good enough to meet the person doesn't make any sense, because ultimately you will meet them where you are. And there's, you know, a resonance between 2 people that eventually stay in relationship. And that resonance works because, you know, it's the meeting of 2 beings. So a mantra that's been really supportive for me, that's helped me really ground myself in my enoughness, is I trust that the person who's right for me will meet me where I am. The person who's right for me will meet me where I am. And that takes the pressure off that I need to be anyone else. I can still grow, I can still do the things I want to, but can we grow from a place of enough now, as opposed to craving and hoping that we'll be good enough someday in the future? So enough now, and you're a prize to win, idea number 1. Idea number 2 is not to exalt people or to put them on a pedestal. I'll speak for myself as that if there's somebody that I fancy, I suddenly get into, wow, they're perfect. Wow, she's amazing. Wow, she's like a goddess. And I'm imagining having children and like what the kids would look like. And obviously that's just causing a lot of pressure to be put on just meeting a human being for the first time. And then, you know, I'll get stuck in my head and get anxious. So yeah, just if you notice yourself doing that, and this can be, you know, meetings, maybe a job interview that you really want, a new friendship with somebody that you think is really cool. It's like, you know, they poo, they pee, they fart, they snooze, they snore. You know, they're a human being just like you. And again, can we just meet them as a human being as opposed to putting them on a pedestal and then putting us underground in a dark cave? Final idea in finding more love and more connection is, can we, and this is an idea from Daoism, chapter 49, is that can we treat everyone with the same kindness, with the same generosity, and not discriminate? You know, so I would notice that, you know, if I felt that I didn't kind of fancy someone, then I could relax and, you know, be a friend with a woman. but then suddenly change how I was with somebody that, excited me, and you feel that energy. And then that creates just this unnecessary dichotomy of like being a different person with some people and then a different person with other people. And what I'm inviting more and more is that, I show up to every interaction with, the same openness and generosity and playfulness. And, you'll do you differently. Like, how do you want to show up in your life? For me, I now try and start a conversation with the cashiers at the supermarkets, taxi drivers, maybe somebody waiting at a bus stop. And just to, without the need for having any outcome from that interaction, but just reducing that kind of specialness of connecting with someone. And the more I practice that, the less resistance I have, the easier it becomes. So that is some ideas and some stories from me about how to meet our connection for love and appreciation. Any reflections for you in your life, finding more love? I would love to hear. Yeah. And you know what? I'm just going to keep going because we've got a wheel to get through. I've got lots of stories here. As always, welcoming your thoughts in the chat. I'm always grateful to hear your experiences. And like, how do you meet these needs for love, for connection? And this is We Really Need to Talk, the exploration of our deep human needs and how to meet them. We've just had love. Let's try it again. Peace. As human beings, we all have a need for peace, to be able to relax and to soften. And we can get in our own way with the way that we relate to ourselves and the world. And how do we find peace with challenging experiences? Like, say you've got an important conversation coming up, a meeting, a date, something that you're a little bit nervous about, maybe some public speaking. How do you find some relaxation with that? I came across quite a simple, powerful tool to help us find more peace in times of challenge. And this came from Master Gu, my Tai Chi master. And Master Gu, if you didn't know, is an awesome singer. He's got a beautiful operatic voice. And that's always really inspiring for me. And me and Master Gu, we went to, when I was in China, went to a martial arts cultural show. We had martial artists doing their magic and doing backflips and people playing Chinese instruments. Master Gu playing guitar and his disciple doing Tai Chi. And then Master Gu signed me up to do a song, to sing. And I enjoy singing. I'm a bathroom, bedroom, garden singer, but haven't really stepped outside of that. And so here I was in front of 80 people and was kind of signed up without me asking, but I was excited to be there. And whenever I get invited to do an event in China, I always start with my world peace speech, which is, hello, I'm George from England. I'm really grateful to be here. And, this is really important that we talk between cultures because peace is possible and it comes from communication. So always, anytime I'm doing something in China, I always throw in my little world peace speech. And then it was time for me to sing a song. And suddenly I'm nervous. And I start singing, around the corner, whistling down the river. There's 80 people. And I'm nervous and not singing well. I then go talk to Master Gu afterwards, and I'm kind of shamed and embarrassed, like, ooh, that was fun, but I felt a little bit out of my depth there. I asked him, how do you stay grounded when, you're in front of 80 people, 100 people singing your Chinese opera? How do you do it? Master Guru said, relax. I was like, okay, thank you. That's obvious. How do we relax? And he says, breathe deep, release stomach tension, send your breath deep down. Now, this is a really simple and powerful hack, trick, in order for us to feel more grounded and challenged, because we can still be anxious, but if we send the breath deeper down, with the nervous system, we're automatically sending soothing signals through the nervous system. The fight or flight nervous system's up here, the rest and digest nervous system's down here. So even if I'm nervous, if I can send my breath down, I'm grounding my breath. So even now, coming down into my resonance, if I can release stomach tension and breathe from that place. So you could even try that with me now if you'd like to. And a simple way to feel your breath grounding and sinking is to put your hands on your side ribs. So if you'd like to try that with me, we could try maybe 5 breaths. When we breathe in, we release stomach tension, sending the breath deep down into you. Feel an expansion on your hands. That's why your hands are there as feedback. And breathing out. Your hands coming back in. Breathing in. No movement in the shoulders, no movement in the chest. It's all about releasing tension, sending the breath deep down into you, and then breathing out. All right, 3 more. See how we do. Breathing out. Breathing in, releasing stomach tension, sending the breath deep. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. So maybe now you could try speaking. And maybe you can try, first of all, speaking from this now relaxed place. Hello, how's your voice sounding? And then maybe crunching in your belly and raising your shoulders, and then trying to speak from here. Hi. So we have a need for peace, and just telling yourself to be at peace isn't as helpful as having actionable tools to help you down-regulate your nervous system. And one powerful tool that's available to you is to release tension in your body, in your stomach, allowing the breath to sink deep. And so then you can breathe and speak from that more grounded place. So for me now, when I'm singing, is that I can still feel nervous, but even with the nervousness, I breathe deep, and then my voice is supported, and then I speak with more ease. So yeah, something for you to explore in your own practice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, shall we keep going? Let's see how we're gonna do. Bum ba da bum bum ba. Where we're gonna land? Oh, okay. So we all have a deep need for connection, to be seen and to be understood by the people in our lives. And yeah, this deep need for connection makes me think of my parents, who I love and are awesome. And I also, for quite a lot of my 20s, have lived with my parents and had to go through the journey of finding a new connection, a new way of relating to my parents, going from being a child with them being the adult and then meeting as adults. And yeah, that was a process that took some time and yeah, some kind of adventures on the way. And yeah, just come back from China, had gone on this supposedly life-changing adventure, and I'm back, stuck with the parents. And my dad is awesome, and for his generation, I'd say quite emotionally aware, but his generation, as maybe some of the men in your life, are of the generation of big boys don't cry. Don't express the feelings. We don't have feelings, just get on with it. And so I started this journey of beginning to express my emotions in a way that hopefully was grounded. And I found it challenging with my dad, where I felt sometimes that he didn't express his emotions or kind of hear mine or listen to mine in a way that felt skillful. One silly example, and maybe this is familiar to you, of when just really small, irrelevant things suddenly blow up into quite big things, is one morning I go into the kitchen, and on the counter there is a thing of peanut butter and a knife, and then peanut butter just smeared everywhere. I'm thinking, what happened to Dad last night? Did a thief come in and challenge him? You're crumpet all your life, sir. Dad's fighting him off with the peanut butter knife and just getting peanut butter everywhere. I don't know what happened to Dad last night, but now I had to come and clear it up, and I was feeling like my needs weren't met in that moment. So here I was, had these new skills for connection, and I wanted to express myself. So I went up to Dad and said, Dad, when you smeared peanut butter all over the kitchen, I felt my need for consideration wasn't met. And I would ask that you clear up your peanut butter, damn it. So I didn't express myself in the most grounded way. I was judgmental. I was judgmental of him not considering me, judgmental of him in my story of him not doing enough work on himself. And that led to disconnection. And so one of the big lessons that I've learned in meeting my need for connection is acceptance of where people are as a starting point. Gratitude as a starting point. Because, there's a lot that I can be grateful for my dad. And I was seeing him through this lens of judgment, which then led to more disconnection with him. And other people in our lives, they can act in ways that don't meet our needs. But if we are experiencing them through judgment, then they're going to feel it. They're going to shut down. Nobody wants to be lectured at, especially for someone that is just constantly judging them. So in a way that feels as comfortable for you as possible, or as possible for you as possible, is to open up to this human being that's in your life, warts and all, even the bits that you judge, and to at least start with, here they are. And to choose gratitude actively. It's a practice. Gratitude can train our nervous system to more readily pick out the goodness in life, the beauty in life, the beauty in our relationships and the other people that are in our lives. And if we don't choose gratitude, it means that we can get stuck and lost in judgment. For me, with my father, when I began to just accept him for who he was, and this is the paradoxical power of compassion and judgment, and compassion and gratitude, is that he began to soften, and our relationship improved, and he felt more able to express himself, and he's done a lot of work on himself now, which I really celebrate. So, where are you judging the people in your life? Can you choose gratitude? Can you choose connection? And still express your needs in a skillful way. Still express your boundaries in a skillful way. But see what the power of gratitude can do for you. It can be a powerful energy. All right. So welcome to We Really Need to Talk, the show where we explore our fundamental basic needs and see how we can meet them, often explored through the times that I haven't met my needs and the embarrassing stories that maybe can inspire some thoughts in you. All right, a need for choice. As human beings, we have a deep need to have autonomy, freedom to choose our responses to life and to feel like we are making our own choices. And it's quite easy as human beings to give up our power to, there are systems that are bigger than us, and we don't have unlimited power, but we can give up some of the power that we do have through the beliefs that, I don't have any. This is particularly true in the spiritual world where, maybe we're coming with pain and anxiety and there's a spiritual teacher and they have the answers. Great, if I can just surrender my freedom and my choice to the guru, then they can give me the peace that I've been craving. If we give up our power to gurus, there can be danger to that. And here's quite a funny example of somebody that I interacted with that I felt maybe gave up their power. When I was on the mountain in China, in the Tai Chi school in the winter this year, it was cold. It was real cold. I was wearing 4 trousers, and after my Tai Chi practice, I would want to do some laptop work to work on the videos, and it was freezing because Master Gu's place didn't have any heating. Sub-0 degrees without heating gets quite cold. Thankfully, however, in the nearby school, there was this beautiful, elegant cafe with heating. And there were 4 gorgeous cats, a dumb dog. And this school was run by a master who was a businesswoman, but then became enlightened. And this businesswoman, enlightened teacher, claimed to be able to be sensitive to your past lives and the things that happen in your past lives. And in this lovely cafe that they made at the school, there were 2 female students and disciples that would, give me the precious gift of a coffee and warmth when I would go and do my work. But then it was quite funny how then they began to kind of compete for my attention. Like one of the students would give me food, but not the other woman. And the other woman would ask, why didn't I get any food? And this woman would say, you don't deserve it. So just quite funny dynamics like that. And the woman that didn't get the food one day came to me and said, I need to apologize. I said, what for? She said, you need to forgive me. I was like, what for? What are you talking about? And she said, well, I had a dream about you with other women, and I think it's something to do with a past life, a past wrong that I did to you. And I was talking to the master, and she was kind of getting annoyed at my endless questioning. But then I mentioned this idea that maybe in a past life that I'd wronged you in some way, and the master stopped and nodded, said, maybe you're onto something with that. And so I was like, okay, interesting. So for me, that was an example where this person had given up their power. It's like, if the past lives are to blame, it means that we can kind of not investigate what's here, what emotions and feelings and experiences. And instead, with the permission of a master, we can create a story about a past life that needs to be resolved, as opposed to, empowering ourselves as to what, the response is in the here and now. And there's a lot of power that's given to these masters that can claim to connect with past lives. And, I'm someone that sees reincarnation as an idea that makes sense to me, in the sense that everything is energy, and energy can only be transformed, not destroyed. And in Western science, although it's now changing, there was this false dichotomy between mind and matter. And the assumption that matter was mindless and separate from matter itself. And so, in the Western science view, reincarnation doesn't make sense because consciousness or experience or mind can't continue, because mind or matter is just an outcome made by mindless matter. Bit of a complicated idea to explain quickly, but for me, everything's energy. Mind and consciousness and matter are just interconnected aspects of energy, and so reincarnation makes sense for me. Except for I feel the body is this vessel, 37 trillion cells, this complex self-organizing system that comes together to create me and my story of George and my memories. And I don't quite know the mechanism by which past memories could come onto me and this body. Although I have talked to some people that have shared some interesting experiential evidence of people that have memories from the past that they couldn't possibly have, like children remembering the lives of somebody 80 miles away 10 years ago. So I leave a question mark around the past lives. But if we put our power into a guru that can tell us, whether or not we did something in the past, for me, that's giving up our power. Or take an evangelical religious person that feels that, say, Jesus is coming back to save the world. Instead of exercising the power that we do have to change, then we wait for the day that we're going to be saved. Whereas the way that I interpret the coming of Christ, again, is the same way that Matthew Fox, a great mystic Christian thinker, talks about it, as Christ consciousness, that the coming of Christ is a metaphor for the coming of Christ consciousness into the hearts and minds of humanity, where we find compassion and peace. And in so doing, heaven does become a place on earth. And so that prophecy is fulfilled, not because something outside of us is saving us, but because we take the power that we do have to transform our lives and our societies and our planet. So we as human beings have a deep need for choice, and where are you waiting for miracles? Are there areas of life where you're giving up your power? Can you take back your freedom, your choice? What would that look like for you? So, checking in on the chat, see how we're doing. So thanks for your question. Does the concept of karma exist in Daoism? Well, Daoism is all about interconnection, no separation, harmony. And so in an interconnected system, then every cause ricochets and has countless immeasurable effects. And this is the basics of karma, is that what you put out, you bring back in. And say in our relationships, if we help somebody out, maybe by connecting them, if they're looking for a new job, we connect them with a friend and they get a job. That one person may not help us get a job. We may not get the karmic response straight back from them, but that person then is given permission to be generous and to give and to offer, and then create more experiences with other people where they can be generous and give and offer, and then sure enough, it does come back to you in a real sense. So for me, that's the basics of karma. We don't have to get too metaphysical or woo-woo about karma. For me, it's just the simple reality of being in an interconnected system. What goes out comes within, because really we're not separate in the first place. And the idea of us being separate is just a story. All right, thanks for your thoughts. Welcoming your chat. So yeah, we're going to just keep going with this. So, if you've got to head off, that's cool. But yeah, I've got lots of stories to share with you. So let me grab a little drink. And maybe we could take a breath together. If you'd like to join me, we could take a little break. And coming to your breath, if you'd like to softening your face, breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Relaxing your forehead and your eyes, the cheeks and the jaw. If they can soften, allow them to. Taking one more breath together, breathing in. And breathing out. Lovely, lovely. Nice to take a little pause with you. Awesome. All right. So, shall we keep spinning, my friend? Let me take a drink. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Independence. We as human beings have a need for independence. And for me, I love being by myself. And I've also quite a lot in my life experienced loneliness. And so I want to share some ideas where we can navigate these simultaneous needs to be in connection and to have independence and to be free. And a story comes to mind when I finished university and I was socially depleted. I just had enough of people and I wanted to be by myself. So I decided to go traveling by myself, hiking in Spain. And I hiked up a mountain, not knowing where I was going to stay. Then I came across a mountain hut, a refugio. And there was nobody about, except for some goats. And I go inside, and the refugio split into two rooms, one where I can sleep, and the other had an altar in, with Jesus on the cross and Mary crying her eyes out. But that didn't matter. Mr. Independence had found his refuge, finally a place where I could be alone to think and to read. And the only sound was the sound of the wind blowing through the grass and the sound of the goats breaking wind. Paradise. So I slept day one. Day two, I realized that this mountaintop was a desert. There was nowhere to have any water. The only thing that was flowing on the mountain was Mary's tears, which I kept on looking at. I go and run for 10 kilometers, hitchhike down the mountain, find some water, come back. All right, I'm here. Mr. Independence has found his freedom place, and yet I had this nagging feeling of, oh, I don't really want to be alone right now. And I'm looking at Mary's face, crying at the loss of her son. And I'm just beginning to feel more and more alone. And then I start beating myself up. It's like, well, look, this is what you wanted. And now you can't even enjoy being by yourself. So I want to pause the story there. And what's happening? Like, what is loneliness? And why do we have it? Because being alone is different from loneliness. And being alone, a hermit can be a Taoist monk can live by themselves in a cave for 5 years and feel totally joyful, or somebody can be surrounded by family and yet because they don't feel understood, they feel deeply alone. So loneliness and being alone are not the same. Loneliness is the feeling that comes from the perception that we have not met our need for connection. Like if we remember with all these needs that we're exploring, that we're multidimensional beings, we have all these different needs, and feelings and thoughts are experiences that arise from the mind, the body, and the heart as signals to whether or not our needs are met or unmet. And so loneliness is the feeling that comes up when we feel our need for connection isn't met. And how do we get our needs for connection met is connections with others or connections with ourselves. And whenever you're dealing with challenging emotions and dealing with feelings and needs, a really important question for you to ask and for us to ask is, what am I believing right now for this to be true, for this feeling to be here? So I was feeling lonely, and when I'm exploring my connection with other people, what am I believing? What am I telling myself to feel lonely? And for me, it was that I don't have enough friends that understand me, and I'm single and feeling lonely because of that. So once we get to the belief, we then have a couple of options. We can assess, is this true? Is this thought true? From a place of wisdom and perspective. And if it is, then we can do something about it. So looking back now, I think that actually I could have had a lot more gratitude for the connections that I had in my life. I was kind of judging my friends and not allowing myself to really receive the connection that was there. So loneliness is the feeling that comes from the unmet need of connection. How do we find connection? Connection with others or connection with ourselves? And for me, friends and family, maybe for you, there's actions around connection with others that you could take, or changing your relationship with those thoughts and feelings. But really, I'd say the starting point with dealing with loneliness is the connection with ourselves. I guess having people that see us and understand us in our lives is really important and can make life deeply meaningful. But even if we have beautiful people in our lives, if we don't have this connection with ourselves in a healthy, balanced way, we're not going to be open to that beauty and that connection that is available for us. So for me, sitting on this mountainside by myself, I would internalize, like I'm not confident enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not funny enough, I'm not handsome enough, my body's not good enough. And all these judgments would lead to disconnections with myself. I would try and repress and deny parts of myself. And this is probably the deepest and most fundamental aspect of our healing journey, is to begin to meet ourselves, our whole selves, with kindness. So back to the story. I'm by myself, surrounded by goats, feeling really lonely, with Mary crying her eyes out. I'm just looking at that, and like Jesus on the cross with the crown of thorns on and blood dripping down his face, and he's stapled to a cross, and I'm just stuck in being stuck in my thoughts. And I try and talk to the goats for some support, but their love language is headbutting, and that didn't really vibe with me. And for my needs to be seen and to be heard, I had a boomerang, but I was so lonely that when I went to throw the boomerang, it never came back. And then maybe this is the part of the story where you imagine I have this great breakthrough and then find peace with myself. But no, I didn't. I just eventually left the mountain and found people, I didn't have some of the tools that I had today. One of the most powerful tools for me, and one that I offer you and continue to offer in most of the sessions that I explore, is seeing ourselves in terms of parts. Seeing ourselves in terms of parts. Like, here are just some of the needs that we have as human beings, and all of these needs create different voices and different patterns within us. So, the need for independence can come up as a part of us. The need for connection can come up as a part of us. And if we begin to acknowledge these different aspects of ourselves, then we can begin to connect with our deeper self, our wise self, that place of compassion and kindness and awareness and patience that can watch these thoughts and feelings. And for me now, I imagine all the different parts of me around a table, and I've got my wise self who then listens to these different parts. So for me, the part of me that needs connection, I call Georgie. And Georgie wants to play and to be with people. And if sometimes he's feeling disconnected, now I listen to him. And here, me talking to you right now, I've been basically completely by myself for 5 weeks because I'm still Mr. Independence. I love being by myself. And Georgie has had times coming up and saying, I want to be with people. And my wise self is, really hearing that and listening with compassion. But there's a huge difference between I am lonely and there's part of me that's feeling lonely. Can you feel the difference in that? Big difference between I am lonely and there's a part of me that's lonely. Because then I am not overwhelmed by that loneliness, and I can begin to assess from my place of wisdom, my wise self, to see, okay, what should I do? Because actually this time by myself has been really precious, and I've got loads of connection coming up in the summer. And so I can say, Georgie, I hear your need for connection, and there's lots of fun coming. So, we're all good. And from this place of wisdom, I want to live with joy and presence and ease. And then, I breathe. Whoa, celebrating that. I breathe and find more ease. So, feelings and thoughts are signals of whether or not our needs are unmet or met. And one of our fundamental pairings is the need for connection and the need for independence or freedom. And we all have different varying amounts of how much we need to balance these two needs. And if you can more and more begin to see yourself in terms of parts, and the parts based on what your needs are, and these are just some of them, and then assessing those needs from a place of wisdom and groundedness, then more ease and joy and connection and love is possible. So let me know your thoughts on that. Yeah, I'm really glad that you're finding some of this useful and valuable. You're really welcome. Yeah, super welcome. Yeah. All right. Little dance break, little shake break. Can you have a little seated boogie, or if you're standing, don't know what you're doing right now. Little shake out. I'm just going to keep going because I got some. I'm only here for a week, and I want to share some more stories with you. Hi, Gabrielle. Yeah. Nice. All right. Yeah, maybe we'll do one more, and then we'll call it a day. All right. Welcome to We Really Need to Talk. We all have fundamental needs. Let's see what one we're going to talk about. And I don't know if I did talk about that one. In fact, you know what? Let's stop there. Thank you so much. Let me check into the chat. Yeah, maybe that's enough of the really need to talk for now. And yeah, I'll be back again tomorrow, same time. Let me check in with the chat with you. And yeah, translation of the Tao Te Ching. So, is there a good translation of the Tao Te Ching that's not biased by their own interpretation? Well, I'd say no is the answer to that, because every interpretation, every translation has to be an interpretation. Chinese, particularly ancient Chinese, each character has many different meanings. And the Tao Te Ching, we only found copies that were buried in the tomb of rich people a few hundred years after the Tao Te Ching was written. And they're on bamboo strips with no punctuation. So it's really hard to know when the end of a sentence and when the start of a sentence would start. And so there's many interpretations, and hundreds of years, thousands of years of interpretation has taken place within the Chinese language. And, you know, if you speak Chinese and the Tao Te Ching is translated into modern Chinese, then, you know, that even that's an interpretation. And scholars, even if they're Chinese, will, you know, have to study how characters were used 2,500 years ago. Then to bring it into English, yeah, that is always going to be based on the person and their interpretation and their life and what they care about, their worldview. So the thing with the Tao Te Ching, it's really important to have multiple translations. So if Lao Tzu's original meaning and intentions here, then, you know, you've got, you know, I read 10 copies. There's also a great site called egreenway.com, where there's 50 copies. There's so many interpretations of the Tao Te Ching. And then take what resonates, you know, what serves you. Because if it is so mystical and open to interpretation and poetic, then you can only ever really take what resonates with you. And there'll be certain translators that work with you. So for me, I do really like Stephen Mitchell, although he does veer quite a lot from the original text. Then there is Derek Lin, who's an accurate text, and I really like him. Wayne Dyer has an awesome book where he applies it to modern living. Then, yeah, Gaiu Feng and Jane English, one of the classic translations, they are great as well. So there's 4 for you to work with. So yeah, happy exploring, happy reading. Ah, yeah, nice. I can come to that tomorrow. My pleasure, and yeah, I want to be real with you on my journey and to, yeah, be vulnerable and be human and to bring you with me, because I'm still on my way and I'm still, you know, I've felt so much joy and peace and meaning from the path that I've been on, and I still get stressed and still fall over. And, you know, I want to bring you on that journey with me so that, you know, I'm not claiming to be some Taoist non-human. You're very welcome, Charlie. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Sending you very good wishes to you for your Friday, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Much love. Thank you. Ciao, ciao for now.